What is up, guys? Beancrew49 here. We are back on the Desolation map. And we're in front of a building you might not recognize. Well, you would recognize it if you watch Beaten Builds 2 Beats. But not a lot of you watch it, so I don't expect all of you to know what we're doing here. Guys, we're making a meat packing plant. Oh, baby. I've been waiting a long time to do this. This was I think it was Jam Jor's suggestion. I can't remember exactly who suggested this, but they said slaughterhouse, and I wanted to do a slaughterhouse, but I figured, there wouldn't be a slaughterhouse in a major city. You know what I mean? There's no animals, there's no barnyard animals around here, so we're going to call this a meat packing plant, where they bring in the dead carcass, and then they package it, and they cut it, and they package it, and they do all the butchering stuff, and then they turn it into hamburgers. And I figured, today's a good day to work on this, because in America, it is Independence Day, and everyone's doing their barbecues, okay? Everyone's got their hot dogs and their hamburgers and their steaks on the grill, but it's always good to keep in mind that you're eating something with the soul, okay? Always remember that, guys. I'm not going to preach to you guys today. Today's a happy day. It's Independence Day, like I said, and, people in America are all celebrating. If you're not in America, sucks for you, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not huge on Independence Day. Well, I mean, what does Independence Day mean, really? Right? It means we killed a bunch of Native Americans after we turned on our so-called masters. You know what I mean? Oh, well, whatever. It's a good day to have a barbecue. It's warm outside. All right, so go outside to have your barbecues. Anyway, what's today? Today's Monday. So, yeah. Well, first of all, I'm going to just say what I'm going to do here. First, I'm going to start off with a lobby for, visitors or whatever coming to the meat packing plant. And then I'm going to build some walls and some floors. I'm going to fast forward through that so you guys don't have to sit here and watch that. Then I'm going to do then I'm going to do a freezer where they keep the meats cold while they're being stored. And then I'm going to do like an assembly line. And you'll see how that works all out. So anyway, today's Monday. Today is Creative Question of the Week time. I love this part of the series. This is the part of Desolation where you guys get to ask me any question you want, as long as it's creative and it allows me to expand and answer in various different ways that I choose to. And I encourage you all to leave your questions in the comment section below, because guys, you get to have an influence on this channel. Those of you who are just watching and wish you could participate, this is the best way to do it. All you have to do is do a little typing. Boop, 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 boop. Just type a little question, write Creative Question of the Week on it, and I might just answer it, because that's what I do. Alright, today's Creative Question of the Week comes from Ultimate Breakdown. And he says, if World War III happened, what will you do to try to survive? Oh, thank you, Ultimate Breakdown, for that question. I like it. I like it a lot. So, the reason I chose this question today is because it's 4th of July, like I said, and because of that awful movie that came out a while ago, that awful, horrible movie. Everyone associates Independence Day with, like, the end of the world. You know what I mean? That terrible movie with Will Smith where he punches an alien, knocks his lights out. It's the worst movie. Oh, man, it's good if you want to turn off your brain and just, like, just drool on the screen with the visuals and the silly acting and this horrible plot line and all that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. What would I do if World War III happened? Great question. Okay. First of all, if World War III happens, there's not much you can do, okay? Because let's face it, guys, if World War III happens, it's not going to be trench warfare. It's not going to be, a bunch of troops storming the beach, okay? It's going to be fought with nuclear weapons, most likely. And nuclear weapons means one of two things. Either A, you are wiped out in an instant, you don't even know what happened. Or B, you're going to be feeling the effects of radiation for the rest of your life, however short that may be. Okay? That's what's going to happen if World War III comes to fruition. It's going to be fought with nuclear weapons. Or, if not nuclear weapons, it's going to be fought with biological weapons, which is probably the same thing. Either you're going to die pretty quickly, or you're going to suffer the effects and die not too long after that. Because if you think about a world war where a coalition of countries is fighting another coalition of countries, pretty much the whole world is affected. That's why it's called a world war, because even if your country is not engaged in the war, you're going to feel the effects of it, because it's just a battle on such a massive scale that economies are affected, and environments are affected, and mentalities are affected, governments are affected, even if you're not engaged in war. So no matter what happens, if World War III comes, you will feel the effects guaranteed. It doesn't matter how peaceful you think you are, how much you're not willing to get involved. Your country will feel the effects. Okay, so what would I do if a nuke was dropped? I'd just die. That's what I'd do. I would die just like everybody else. If I wasn't in the blast, then, my food would get polluted somehow, or my air would get polluted somehow. There'd be radiation. It'd be everywhere. Everyone would be affected, like I said. So let's not engage in World War III. So yeah, I'm not really concerned about the war itself because, troops wouldn't be used. It'd be drones. It'd be fighter pilots. There wouldn't be like a land invasion like there were in past wars. I mean, we're in a whole new era here where technology is ready to do the fighting for us. Some guy sits in an RV somewhere in the Nevada desert controlling his little video game, and then somewhere over Afghanistan a drone is killing innocent people. Okay, you know what I mean? So that's what war is now. There's not going to be troops on the ground, and if there are, they're going to be very few. And it's not going to be like a million Chinese storming the beach. Maybe, who knows? Whatever. I don't know what country would be involved, but who's to say? Anyway, yeah, I'm not worried about the war itself. That's not what concerns me. It's the after effects. And the after effects of a world war, let's say you survive it, okay? Let's say you survive the atomic blast or the biological weapons or the invasion or whatever happens, okay? Let's say you survive it and the war comes to an end. And that's what I'm most afraid of. What would happen after World War III? Because let's say you survive it, right? What happened after World War II? Everyone was in fear. Everyone was in panic. And they created the EU, basically. The European Union was created based on the fear after World War II of something like that happening again. They wanted to, what they told them, they wanted to unite as one, create an economy within Europe, and, become one. Guys, there's nothing scarier on this planet to me than a one world government. Oh man, if you think it's bad right now with the 1% controlling your country, think how bad it will be with the 0.0001% controlling the globe. No group of people should have that much power, but that's what happened after World War II. They made a step towards a world government. The EU, a bunch of nameless, faceless suits that I have no idea how they get elected. Do they get elected? No, they're just placed in positions of power, and they control all of the bureaucratic decisions for the entire region of Europe. Wow, thank goodness the British had the bravery, the knowledge, and the wisdom to leave the EU because, it's bureaucratic tyranny is what it is. Basically, it's the 0.0001% telling the masses how to live their lives. And, they don't really care about the good of the people. They care about their pocketbooks. They care about the power they control. They care about not losing their power. And that's what one world governments are. They're a very small group of people telling the masses what to do, how to live their lives, keeping them basically in economic turmoil. That's exactly what the EU is, imposing sanctions on countries that aren't in the EU, making things more expensive for the countries that are in the EU. It's terrible. And if that's what happened after World War II, what's going to happen after a larger scale World War III? It's going to be worse. Who knows what countries would be involved, but maybe they make a one world government when who knows who would be in charge of that. One or two people, calling the shots for the entire globe. Oh, man. Can you imagine what that would be like? A new world order is what it would be. A new world order. Can you imagine 1.0001% of the people telling 8 billion people how to run their lives? Oh, that would be disaster. Oh my goodness. We can't have that, guys. We can't have World War III because, you don't want nukes on your head. You don't want biological warfare. You don't want a new world order, one world government. That would be basically... if you thought we were in slavery now, imagine the slavery you would be in after that. the depression that would occur afterwards would make people fearful. After the war, it would make people fearful and more willing to accept this government. This, and the platform of the new government would be such positivity. They slant it with a positive note. Yeah, we're gonna unite all the countries so that we're one and we're together. And, everyone's ruled by the same laws. That's how it starts. That's how they tell you it's gonna happen. That's how they might even conduct it initially. But as time goes on, when that few people have that much power, it invariably corrupts. They're already corrupted, but it gets worse and worse and worse. Guys, if someone wants to have power over you, or if you yourself want to have power over someone else, is that coming from a place of love and compassion and understanding and empathy? Or is that coming from a place of fear and negativity and hatred and xenophobia? If you have the urge to control someone else, that is coming from a very dark and negative space. So while on the surface a one world government might seem like it's best for the common good, the greater good, it might seem like that, but that's not true at all, because it's people who want the ultimate power and control over people. And that power and control will make them rich, it'll make them powerful, it'll make them important. And that's, at the deep down, that's what the darkest parts of the human psyche wants. It wants those things. That's the darkest part. But the light part of humanity wants to spread love and empathy and understanding, and wants everyone to be free to express their own free will. They want people to be creative and inventive and just compassionate. And that's kind of the opposite of a one world government, is freedom for all. Freedom to do as you please in this world, because you are a highly sophisticated, I hate to say piece of machinery, but that's sort of what the body is. It's a highly sophisticated machinery that's got a soul in it, that's got emotions in it, that's got free thinking in it. And you weren't placed here to be controlled by anyone else. You were placed here to express your individuality, express your creativity, express your own free will, so that you can do whatever you want to do in this world. That's what you're put here to do. And a one world government, guys, it's not in the game plan. It's not in the game plan for that sort of thing. Okay? So be very wary of engaging in World War III. That's kind of like the whole moral of this story is World War III obviously is a bad thing. We don't want it. But it's not just the fighting that's bad. That's what people would think. War is bad because of fighting and because of death and loss of life and all that. And that's true. That's why war is terrible. But the things that come after wars are equally bad sometimes. Equally bad. So that's why a lot of governments encourage their people to go to war, so that they can change policy. Because policy can't just be changed like that. They need a reason to do it. And if you have a war, then people are fearful and they let their guard down. They allow these changes to be made in their greatest interest. But that's not true. It's why governments encourage their populations to go to war a lot of time. Look up the Gulf of Tonkin incident. We've talked about this. Look at 9/11. These incidents were either created by the U.S. government or used by the U.S. government to promote violence overseas, so that they could get their own implementations implemented and change the way that the country or the nation or the world is run. So think about that, guys. World War III, bad situation. Don't want it. Don't need it. That's something to think about before you go off to your barbecues today. Happy Independence Day for all those people who live in the U.S. Just remember that the Native Americans don't think it's such a great day, because it was the start of basically a genocide of the worst variety in the history of the world. Okay, worse than the Jews during World War II. The Native Americans were wiped out using biological warfare a lot of the time. If they weren't shot in the back, they were given smallpox, basically. So let's look at history today, guys, and remember the lessons that history teaches us, that the small few in power and control don't have your best interest in mind. They have their own interests in mind. And that interest of theirs doesn't exactly align with yours all the time. So keep that in mind. All right. Thank you for your creative question of the weeks in the comment section. I really do appreciate you guys asking questions and wanting to learn and about different things. I'm not some ultimate authority, but I do have some different perspective on things that can help you. You know, if you take what I say and you think about it and apply it to what you know, and then, you know, we all together make up a new thought pattern. And that's what this is all about, guys. That's what it's all about. So there's my meat packing plant full of dead carcasses of once in soul inhabited beings. Oh, that's so sad, but you know, that's the life we live in. And if you want to make a positive change in this world, be the change that you want to see. Alright guys, that's it for me today. Leave a like if you enjoyed this. As always, happy Minecrafting. Look at that ghetto in the ghetto. Peace.